Hello and welcome to Raising Men. I'm your host, Craig Carlisle, on WKBY 1080 AM. I'm so excited to be here. Raising Men, what is it? People ask me, why do you spell it so funny? RZNGMEN? I mean, what does that mean? It started out as a license plate that my late wife created. We have 5 boys. And when we used to talk about our life and what we were doing, what the Lord was doing in our life, I used to tell her, we're not just raising kids, we're raising men at this point. We had 5, and I'll share that story at another time. We put that license plate on her truck. It was our go-getter truck. That truck went everywhere. Basketball tournaments, volleyball tournaments, all over hill and dale and all over the dusty trail. We took that thing. When she passed away, the kids used to talk about, man, mom's truck, mom's truck, mom's truck. And so I was looking for a way to have a vehicle to begin some new adventures with them. So I traded her, I sold her truck. The kids were like, Dad, you got to keep the license plate. You got to keep it. It's a part of who we are. It's the fabric of our life, as they say. Okay, I'm going to let you know. With this show, I'm going to use a lot of coined phrases. And so when you get a chance, go on our Facebook page and Twitter page and let us know, hey, I caught that coined phrase of yours, and we're going to use a lot of song lyrics in this show as well, but I promise you, I'm not going to sing. The Lord has not gifted me in the area of singing. That's why I'm on the other side of the DJ console and the other side of the mixing board. So, I did. I kept the license plate. I let the guys know, hey, you're okay. After her death, and Raising Men took on a whole different meaning for me. I needed to have a place and a group, a person, to really speak into my life and help me become a better man, a better husband, a better father. There were people like that in my life that spoke into my life, that were the teachers in my life, the preachers, the pastors, the friends. But there weren't any that I knew or that were revealing themselves that really understood where I was coming from. Single father, raising 5 boys by himself. And I had people that were making themselves available to me. And I'm not saying that I wasn't appreciative, but they just didn't understand where I was coming from. They didn't understand what I had in front of me. The ones that did understand, they just weren't quite there. They weren't present. They didn't have the time. Or they didn't take the time. That's what we're going to talk about today, and today's topic is time. But we're going to really shape this thing around the time about our children and how we spend it with our children. So today's topic is called A Father's Time. So fathers, I know that having a family is tough. On so many levels it's tough. Believe me, please believe it. I know what it is to have a tough family, to raise a tough family. My kids are 21, 13, 12, 10, and 8. 4 of which are with me every day, and my oldest boy is away at college. That makes it even harder for me because I don't get the chance to see him and spend time with him like I really want to. I know my dynamic is different. There's so many different dynamics of married, single, blended, widowed, and so on. I mean, there's no perfect family. There's no perfect dynamic. But in every instance, at the core, the children involved in those relationships, all they want is your time. And for so many children, a father's time is just so key. I know I enjoy the time I spent as a child with my father. I don't think I could ever have gotten enough of it. I don't ever think it was perfect. I don't ever think that the time I got from my father was exactly what I wanted. But you know what? It was the only time I had. It's the only time that's running out for me. And okay, so I don't want to give this topic just because my father is sick, because my father's dying. But maybe I do want to give that topic for this reason because I just want to make sure that as a marker and as an example in my life, my dad taught me a lot of things. So I'm trying to make sure I glean from his life the positive things to put forth daily. And I want to set those negative things aside. In fact, I don't even want to dwell on the negative things of my father in any of these shows. But I tell you what, I'm going to live out my life using all of the positives from his life and every other male role model's life, and then some that I don't have. So let's say this. In the course of this show, Raising Men, if there's something that I say that you don't like or that you do like, send me a message, send me a comment. We're going to make this interactive. I didn't say that at the top of the show, but this show is an interactive show. I will read your comments. Some of them I will read online. We will connect together because we're better together. Okay, another coin phrase. There we go. Pay attention. Send me that message. Let me know, yep, I caught that coin phrase. Because, again, I didn't have a group of people, a collective, or a person that I knew exactly what my struggle was. And hey, I don't know exactly what everyone's struggle is either. But if you're a single father out there, or even if you're a father, period, out there doing his best against the odds, another coin phrase, here we go. But if you're out there putting in work and you're not just a derelict sitting on the street, sitting on the couch, sitting there taking advantage of your parents or another person and just living off of the land, then hey, we can work this out. Or even if you are one of the ones that just can't get it together, there's an opportunity if we work together that you can get up on your feet and work this thing out together. Again, you're listening to Raising Men with your host, Craig Carlisle, on WKBY AM, 1080 AM to be exact. So what are we talking about? A father's time. What do you mean by a father's time? I'm talking about the time that we spend together with our children. Well, time is not on our side. Okay, there it is. Well, this is for our first song lyric of the show. And again, I promised you I wasn't going to sing, so I didn't. So there you go. But it's not on our side. And time is not in some endless supply. It's going to run out because the Lord has already ordained and governed how many days, hours, minutes, and seconds we're going to have upon this earth. And when it's gone, it's gone. Okay, yes, there are some examples in the Bible where the Lord gave an extra set of years to those who he deemed worthy. Or not necessarily worthy, who he deemed that he should give it to. Because we know that you don't have to do any works that you may be saved, but you're saved by God's grace. So let's make sure we have another disclaimer that this show, Raising Men, is a show where it's about men for men, and we're going to talk about our issues with a framework around God's word. So we're not going to give a lot of supposition. We're not going to give a lot of, what I'm thinking as the host, because I don't have a lock on everything. I'm still trying to figure this out. Spending a lot of time up early, seeking God, praying, Lord, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do with these boys? What do you want me to do with these boys? You gave them to me as a gift. That means that you're going to provide for them. That means you're going to provide for me. That means you're going to show me how to lead them and lead them well. And this is an area the Lord has shown me that I need to lead my sons well on. It's an area of sharing my time. But so often, I know myself and other men out there, I know we all think that we have so much and I can do it later. Or how about tomorrow we'll get together? We could play with our toys or spend time together tomorrow. Oh, you know what my personal favorite saying is, one day. But those lackluster lyrics leave our lives lacking love and liberation. Now, that wasn't a coined phrase. That was something that the Lord gave me. So I'm going to say it again. That those excuses of I'll do it later, or how about tomorrow, or even one day, are lackluster lyrics that are lies that leave our lives lacking love and liberation. Okay, I completely understand. I'm not foolish enough to believe that you can do everything that you want to do in life. But the truth is that you can't that you can do nothing. Now that's an oxymoron for you. You can't do everything that you want to do in life, but you can do nothing. But the truth of this matter is that we need to pick something to do. I know each one of us have a dream that was out there in our lives that we laid down, that we just decided to walk away from, and that maybe we even thought we couldn't do it. I know I have some dreams. Okay, yeah. In my case, it took me a while, and maybe for some of you too, it may have taken a while, or may take a while, to even figure out what some of those dreams are. Okay, I gave up about 15 years or more of my life not making myself a priority. I was a husband, a father. I put my family first. But there were some dreams there. There are some dreams there that I'm asking the Lord, fleecing Him daily. Lord, bring them back. I want to recapture what was lost. I want to go back and pick up what you gave me, that I've buried, that I've left behind. Because sometimes, men, and that's going to be a topic for another show. The Lord has given me that wisdom right now, is that sometimes when we lay our visions down, we can become resentful for those that we decided to use as our priority. Men resenting their wives, men resenting their children because their dreams were unfulfilled. But we're going to cover that in a later show. But the reality is we all have dreams, and our children need to know that their parents, their fathers have dreams and are dreamers, because we want our children to follow their dreams. We want our children to know that they have a future, and they are our future. Well, there's another song lyric. I know the children are our future. And again, I promise you I'm not going to sing, but we have got to make sure that as we're pushing them as hard as we push them to follow after their dreams and just to have a brighter future, we need to do the same. And our children need to see us doing the same. Okay, I get it. You've had some tough sledding. You had some tough breaks, right? I get it. Choices in your life didn't go well. Decisions in your life didn't go well. You've had some loss. You had some pain. I get it. You're beaten down. You're depressed. You're not where you want to be. I got it. Even psychologists agree that it's easier for us to recall a bad or painful memory than to regain a happy one. Well, I don't think you have to be an expert to agree with that one. I know I can recall almost every argument that my late wife and I had. I'm sure I can recall most of the time, if not every time, that my kids frustrated me. I can even remember each time a friend or a family member let me down. But you know what? I'm sure that those same people have done something for you in your life to make you smile. Take a minute. Think about that one time. Because I'm sure while I was talking about the bad things and digging up those painful memories, I'm sure some of you had a memory that passed by you, and you just didn't let it pass by. You didn't take that thought captive. I'm sure some of you kind of relived that moment, and you were even stuck in there. Okay, shake it off. Come on, shake it off. And let's take a moment to remember the last time that those people did something to make you happy, to make you smile, or maybe even shed a tear of joy. Yeah, pulling those memories may take a little longer. Yeah, I remember when a friend told me that they liked me because of the God in me. I remember my 8-year-old son, Jackson. I remember he told me that he really enjoyed the time that we spent together. Okay, now granted, he conned me into taking him to lunch after one of his doctor's appointments, and so I was like, okay, you got me. But, that's pain and pleasure mixed together, and that's how we do, right? That's how it's done. You do recall a painful memory right alongside of, not right alongside, but I recalled that painful memory first, and I had to dig a little deeper, and I got that positive, loving memory. I remember taking another son of mine to lunch after he had some shots done. My son Ryan, he's 12 years old. He gets shots every 2 weeks for his asthma. I mean, we were sitting in the office with him, and I was sitting in the office there, and I was wondering, hey, he's this kid. He's an eating machine. He hasn't asked me about food. I mean, I had picked him up early from school, and we still had time to get him back from. Right. I keep saying we. I'm going to deal with that we too because I don't have a we in my life right now. So that we keeps coming up this morning. So Lord, you got to help me with what that we is. Maybe that's hmm. Maybe that's foretelling of what's to come. I don't know, Lord, you have to show me that one. But I remember sitting there at lunch with Ryan, and thinking to myself that I'm so glad I took him. Because that moment that he and I were going to have or having at that time may never have come again. He didn't have to compete with any of his brothers. He had my undivided attention. The time I spent with him was well spent, though, yeah, I wrestled with it. I weighed the pros and cons and wondering, why am I going to spend the money on this? Because I've already paid for the meal plan, and why don't I just use it there? But it was the best time I'd spent with my son probably in years, at least since his mom died. Okay, so let's think about it. I've given you some examples of some time in my life that were good and that were happy, and people have done some things for nice for me, at least my kids anyway. So let's think about it. I want each one of you to take some time, hit me on the blog, send me a message. Again, it's Raising Men, RZNGMEN, Raising Men, and you're listening to the Raising Men Show with Craig Carlisle. I'm your host on WKBY 1080 AM. And I'm asking you to go out to our Facebook and Twitter pages. That's RZNGMEN. And leave me some messages and some comments. And we're going to and tell me, when was the last time that you did something that your family should be able to remember that made them smile? I mean, genuinely made them happy, because we did it from that place in our heart that as men we keep barricaded, booby-trapped, and armed guarded. Now, I hope, men, you can recall this place, this time, because we don't often do things that show emotion, because that's just how we were raised. That's just who we are. We're going to cover those kind of topics at a later time, but I need us to start bringing up these topics, and that's what we're going to do. That's what the Raising Men Show is all about, is to help men become better, and we're going to always frame our responses through the lens of the Bible and what the Lord wants from us. So when was the last time we did something that made our children smile, that made them genuinely happy? I'm talking about, maybe we bought a video game because of the niceness of our heart, because that's what we wanted to do, because that's what we were led to do. Maybe we listened to them. Maybe we spent a moment in time just in their presence without saying a word. Because we need to be able to show who we are. We need to be able to show that softer side. We need to be able to show that connection, and show our children that they're special, that they're important, because I know we as a people need this. Yes, for one. I know I do need this. And I know at this time in my kids' life, they need it too. Let's talk about it some more. What are we talking about today on the Raising Men Show with Craig Carlisle on WKBY 1080 AM? We're talking about a father's time. The importance of a father's time, and the importance of spending time with our kids. And I know with having a family, it can make it really tough to set aside time to be intentional, to have fun. Because I know for me, I spend a lot of time thinking about the cost of what it's going to take to have some fun. And that really takes away and diminishes the actual having of the fun. And there's no such thing as free time, because it's literally ticking right past us. And so since it's going to tick, and that's the cost, since it's ticking past us, we might as well use our time wisely. Getting to know our children, spending time with our children, getting to know ourselves, spending time with ourselves. I know in the kingdom of God, building positive memories and making positive memories with our children can shape and change generations. And that's what I'm after. I'm after kingdom building. And so that's what this show is about. It's about building up and causing us as men to grow and lay that foundation. Because if we can build up who men are now, and if we can build up our young men now It's so much easier to repair a damaged child than it is to correct and to repair a damaged man or a broken man. I'm sure you all realize when you have repairs around the house, as things begin to have a small amount of damage, it's easier to fix it and repair it then versus if we let it go and let those breaks and tears become so large and we have a large repair we have to make. And that's what it is. We're going to work on making these small fixes to our children now. So let's talk about a fix I had to make with one of my children. I had Evan, my 10-year-old, brilliant young man, absolutely gifted athlete, just incredible mind. But he decided that he was going to make some poor choices in life. He was going to not do his homework. He was going to not study for tests. And he was just going to sit there in class and just do whatever. I got some progress reports to come home, and I was like, wait a minute. Or just a progress report. I'm not going to say I let that go by. I'm saying I got a progress report to come home, and it was all like 3 Fs and a couple of C's and a D. I mean, I was like, what in the world are you doing? And I yelled and screamed, and I raged, and I took things away from him. But it didn't work. It didn't help. Okay, yeah, granted, I saw a couple of momentary shifts, and there's some immediate short-term gratification you can get by yelling and screaming. So parents, please believe it. I'm an old school guy. My dad's from Mississippi. My mom's from Alabama. So I know I got the short end of that switch and that belt. And so if you don't believe in the corporal punishment, I get it. It's a new school. It's a new millennial. But you know what? I don't come from that background. I think I turned out okay. But this kid, I took everything. I did whatever it took to try to get his attention, and nothing worked. So I had to find out what I was doing wrong, and I was at a loss. I used to sit up at night, and I was wondering, Lord, what did I do? I must have failed my child somehow, and I couldn't lose him. The Bible shares the story about the shepherd that had 100 sheep, and he realized that he had lost and misplaced one, and I have trouble counting to 5 sometimes when I'm in the mall. I'm counting children all the time, and I come up one short, and I freak out. I can't imagine getting to 99, and you're like, wait a minute, where'd that 100th go? But in the Bible, it talks about the shepherd left those 99 behind, and he went and found the one and brought him back. And that's what I had to do. I couldn't lose him. I've lost enough as it is already. I couldn't lose this one. So I called the teacher. We met, and I was embarrassed sitting there, listening to her explain to me how my son was lacking. And I thought to myself, okay, Lord, if I'm missing something with Evan, that means I'm missing something with my other boys too. So I began to be distressed, but I had to shake that off too. And the Lord had me just deal with Evan. So the teacher and we created a plan, and she allowed me to come to his classroom. And so there I was, and there I am, and I'm in class, 5th grade class, taking notes, making sure that I'm watching my son. And please believe it, the first 2 weeks I was in class, I mean, I mean mugged him. I had that look. I came in the door. I'm not messing around with you, Evan. This is serious. You're not going to be that statistic. You're not going to turn into that kid. You're not going to turn into that stereotypical African American student where you're a great athlete but a horrible student. And I wanted his work ethic to change. So I used to sit there, and I needed to make sure the other students knew that this young man had a father that cared. And I'm not saying that the rest of the kids don't have fathers that care, but you know what? This father cared. This father was going to sit in class as long as it took to make sure that he was handled, that he was better, and that he was going to be okay. Things started to shift. Things started to turn. He started to get A's, B's. He started to be excited about his homework. And trust me, when I say he had gotten bad grades, he was missing assignments, and he was doing poorly on tests, and the teacher showed him, and the other kids in the class were in the same condition, grace enough to be able to redo those missing projects and missing assignments. And okay, all right, so yeah. The key here is that I encouraged him. And I just didn't tell him, oh, go sit in the corner and do your homework. So parents, you can't do that. You can't just tell your kids something, and we're not willing to model it and do it. So let's get that off the jump. Because here on the Raising Men Show with Craig Carlisle on WKBY 1080 AM, we're going to lead by example. So the things that we're going to talk about, the things we're going to do here, are not just things that I tell you all to do. We're going to put it in practice. So again, go out on our Twitter page and Facebook page and the website and give us your feedback and comments and let us know, hey, I did that. I launched out. I talked to my kids. I spent some time. I sat there doing homework with them. But remember, you're not supposed to do their homework, parents. You help and encourage the kids to find and lead and get to the answer themselves, because that allows the information to get deeper inside and get them an understanding. So where am I with Evan right now? I'm still going to class. I'm still in there. We're about a month and a half in. But I can't mean mug the kid anymore, right? Because I got to show him another reason why I'm in class. I have to reward him. I have to show him that I'm excited for him, because friends of mine told me that my parenting styles had to shift. There's something wrong with us. We were broken with that. Almost 4 years ago, something happened. Their mother died. My wife died. So there was a change there. So I had to be able to show my son and realize that I loved him, and that I needed to know him to know that I loved him, and that I was willing to do whatever it took for him to be better. And that I loved him more than he knew. That God loved him most and foremostly. I know the Bible talks of, John 3:16, that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. But my son needed to understand that in the context of having flesh on, that I may be one of the only versions of God he may ever see. And I couldn't be one of these hypocritical parents that tell the kids to do as I say and not as I do. I can't be an author. I can't be a public speaker. I can't be a talk show host and be a hypocrite. I can't be that parent whose child is out there saying, to other people, oh yeah, my dad says all those wonderful things. He does all those wonderful things in public, but behind closed doors at our house, he's not that guy. I want my children to understand that their dad and their parents gave all that they had to them first and foremostly, and that he gave to other people secondarily. I need them to know that. So if I need them to know that, that means I have to model it. And we're going to model it together. We're going to become better together. Again, you've been listening to the Raising Men Show with Craig Carlisle. This is an exciting time. Glad you all are here. Glad you're listening to me on WKBY 1080 AM. Tune in to us weekdays. We're better together.